What if you could use an app to be a better friend, a better spouse, a better colleague at work? Wouldn't that be incredibly valuable? I mean, isn't being a better family member and having a happy family one of the tickets to happiness? Isn't having better relationships the ticket to a successful career? I think so, but apparently not everyone thinks so. It's nice to use apps to organize your routines, but a to-do list for relationships is kind of sad. I think it's really valuable to keep track of what you need to do for other people and to use apps to improve your interpersonal relationships. So let me show you how to do that with your to-do list app and your notes app. We'll start over here in Todoist, which is the to-do app that I will use to demonstrate, but this works in many to-do list apps. It does help to have some kind of reminders feature, ideally both time and location-based reminders. I'll show you. I'm going to create a new top-level project called Relationships. Now, if you're using a different app, this might be called a top-level area or a top-level folder. Doesn't matter, call it Relationships, and I will just drag it over here because I like them to be alphabetical. Let's say I have a friend, and this happened to me the other day. Peter, I had someone make a new website for me. You know about websites a little bit. Do you want to give me some feedback on what my new website looks like? And I was like, sure. So I immediately wrote down, give Sabi some feedback on his website. It's easy to make a promise like this, but do you actually do it? Like if you're on the phone with a friend or you're having a cup of coffee with them or whatever, and they ask you to do something, you're like, oh, sure. It's easy to forget, right? If you immediately write it down, you're just going to be that much more reliable to your friend. And that's so valuable. Now here's another one. I was talking to someone else and I was like, you know what? We haven't talked in a while. We should really schedule a catch-up call. So I can write down schedule a catch-up call with Sophia. Now this is really basic, right? You might already be doing this kind of stuff, but we can get a little bit more advanced. So for example, last week I had dinner with a friend and she mentions, oh, I've got this work conference coming up next Friday. I'm really excited about it. You know, we're going to be working together with some other teams that we haven't worked together with before. And I'm really hoping to build some great new relationships. And we spent like a good 15 minutes talking about this. And it clearly means a lot to her. So I was thinking to myself, you know, I'll be curious to see how that goes, and I really want to check in with her. So what did I do? I created a new task, and I said, ask Julia how the conference went. And I can just say, next Friday. So if you're in Todoist, this is cool. You can use the natural language recognition, and it automatically puts a due date of next Friday on this. So what's going to happen next Friday? This is going to show up on my to-do list for that day. It's going to be like, hey, remember to ask Julia how that conference went. So let me just add that task right here. Of course, maybe I'll remember it, you know, using my head, but maybe I won't. And this is just a really nice touch because in fact, this did happen. And yesterday I did message my friend and I was like, how was the conference? She was like, oh, it was so nice of you to remember. Wouldn't that be nice if people said that of you? Wow, you always remember things that I tell you, you know, how nice of you. So it just shows that you care about someone. It's not a cheat code. Well, maybe it is a cheat code, but it's a good one. You know, it's a good one as you're going to make your relationships with other people better. So here we're setting a time-based reminder, right? We can also set location-based reminders. I find those very useful. So let me create a task. For example, I was at the gym. I was chatting with someone who works at the gym, and she said, you know what? I'm really hoping to be hired here, not just at the front desk, but I'd like to work here as a personal trainer as well. Later today, I've got my interview. They're going to hire me or not, and I'll know by the end of the day. So I told myself, you know what? Wouldn't it be nice next time I get back to the gym to ask her if she got the job? So what did I do? Ask Isla whether she got the job. And now I didn't want to set a time-based reminder. I wanted to set a location-based reminder because I wasn't sure exactly when I was going to be back at the gym. Now, in Todoist, if you want to set a location-based reminder, you cannot do this on the Mac. You have to do this on your mobile phone. So I'm just going to do this, and then I'm going to switch over to my mobile phone right here. Let's just go down to this relationships project, and I will tap into the task and go reminder, and then I will say location. And now what I can do is I can search for Terrain More. It's the name of my gym. There's a bunch in Amsterdam. Let's pick a random one. Okay, let's say this is my gym, and then I can say, do I want to be reminded when I'm arriving there or leaving there? Generally, arriving is the handier one. And I'll just tap save, and that's all done. And so now next time, what happens? When I show up at the gym, I'm going to get a push notification. It's like, hey, ask Isla whether she got the job. Just a really nice touch. Now, there's a bunch more things we can do with this. For example, we can keep track of birthdays. You all know that on your calendar, you can show the birthdays calendar, right? So you get all the people that are in your contacts list, you're going to see, is it their birthday today? I always find this a bit overwhelming. You know, I have like thousands of people in my contacts list, and I don't really want to wish all of them a happy birthday. But of course, for the people that I care about, for my family, my friends and stuff, I want to make sure I wish them a happy birthday. I also probably want to get them a gift. So I create recurring tasks for this. Now we could create a separate project for that. That's totally valid. But since we're in Todoist, let's just create a separate section. And I like to call it wishes. We could also call it wishes and gifts, perhaps. How about something like that? Okay, and so what I can do is I can say, wish my dad a happy birthday every year on, let's say, June 13th, or something like that. Boom. There you go. And you can do this for the couple of people that it's most important to you. Now, am I likely to forget my dad's birthday? No, probably not. But there might be people for whom, you're like, I'd like to wish them a happy birthday, but it doesn't come that naturally. In the same way, you can remind yourself to buy gifts for people. So, for example, one thing you can do is say, buy Christmas gifts every year on, let's say, December 20th or something. Might be the due date. There you go. Put that in, and now that's something that you'll be reminded of. So in this way, you can really smooth out your personal and work relationships with people. Let's do another example. Let's say your neighbor is away for a few weeks and they ask you to water the plants twice a week. Easy. Water the plants for the neighbor every Tuesday and Thursday. Boom. Automatically gets recognized as a repeating to-do. Put it in here and it'll show up under your today to-do list automatically. But let's take all of this a little bit of a step further, because this is pretty basic stuff. I'm going to open my Notes app, and so that's sitting over here, and it's Apple Notes. Doesn't really matter what Notes app you use. I'm demonstrating an Apple Notes right here because that's what I use. I have a whole course on Apple Notes, if you didn't know. So anyway, I created a new folder, just with the button right here, new folder. I called it People. Now, what can I do? Let's say I'm having lunch with a friend. Yesterday, I was having lunch with a friend. So I was having lunch with Jeroen, so I'm going to call this Jeroen. It's a Dutch name. Don't try to pronounce it. Very tough. He introduces himself as Jerome. For English people, which is different. Anyway, so we talked about some stuff, okay? And so, for example, he said he might be going out of the country again in July, renting out his apartment. He's checking out a new co-working space. So these are some of the things that we talked about. And what I did is sort of a few minutes after we said goodbye, I just took 30 seconds to write some stuff down. What are some other things that we talked about? He might hire a woman to improve the marketing for his business, including internal communication. When I do this, if I have the time right away, I'll create a couple of to-dos for it. So, for example, he said he's going to check out this new co-working space. So what am I going to do? I'm going to go back to my to-do list, and I'm going to write down, ask Jeroen what he thought of the new co-working space in 3 days. Again, a nice touch. I'm sure when I get in touch with him, he'll be like, oh, it's so nice of you to remember. Yeah, I did check it out. I liked it. I didn't like it. Something like that, It makes you seem thoughtful. It makes you thoughtful. It's thoughtful to do this. People really appreciate it. Now, I might not have a lot of time. So you can do this, of course, for work meetings, one-on-one work meetings, teamwork meetings. And by the way, what I do, I just create a new one. So, for example, I allowed a girl to gym. I was like, oh, she's applying for a personal trainer job. You know what I'm saying? So I can create a new note for each person. And I usually write their last names. I'm leaving them out for privacy right now. You'll have a whole list here. This is sort of a kind of a CRM, customer relationship management light, except not for customers, for people system. Now, like I said, if I write these things down real quick, which I try to do after I meet people, I might not have the time to immediately write down my to-dos properly in the to-do app in the repeating way and so on. And if that's the case, no worries. It's something that you'll fix during your weekly review. You're doing weekly reviews, right? This is something that's really important as part of your task management, is to do a weekly review. Sit down once a week. Sundays are great for most people. And one of the things you want to do during your weekly review is not just go through your to-dos, but also go through the notes that you created in the past week. So I'll go through my notes and be like, oh, right, I talked to Jeroen about these things. Oh, I don't think I created a to-do for this. And I can immediately ask him then, or I can take that time during my weekly review to go ahead and create those to-dos. So what a weekly review looks like, I'll just show you. It's very simple. You just create a task in your task manager. You call it weekly review. And I'm going to say every Sunday, for example, and I'll do it like that. And then I can create some subtasks. Okay, so it's very easy. It's just process physical inbox. Let's say you get physical mail, process email inbox, process to-do list app inbox, process notes I took during the past week, update all to-do lists, see upcoming deadlines, schedule tasks ahead of time. Okay, this is a very simple, not simple, sophisticated way of doing your weekly review. Highly recommend that you do this if you're not already doing it. But why do I mention this? Look at this task right here. One of the things I want you to do is process those notes that you created or took during the past week. So if you're good about, after your meetings, whether it's, personal meetings for fun or work stuff, writing down the things that you talked about to people, then you can turn this into a proper to-do with a deadline and so on if you weren't able to get around to that right away. So this might seem a little intense, but trust me, if you do this consistently, you're going to have so many benefits, because in the end, interpersonal relationships, that's what life is all about. If you get good at those things, you're going to go so far. It's going to be great at home, with your family, with your friends, at work. Use tools to be a better friend, a better spouse, a better parent, better colleague, and so on. Again, I showed you this today using Notes and Todoist. I have an entire course on getting the most out of the Notes app if you're interested in that, and I'm building right now a course on getting the most out of Todoist. So if you're interested in that, maybe by the time you're watching that'll be available, maybe not. If so, stay tuned. Check the link in the description of the video. I'll put it there when it's done, and probably also in a pinned comment. Thanks so much for watching. Please let me know what you think of this system, what you think of this method, whether you try and do these things, keep track of the little things that you want to do for other people, and have a great day. Ciao.